Hello everyone and welcome to Archtype Reviews. This is something new I'm trying, where I'm trying to be more informative of what I'm doing. So today I am reviewing the Archetype FA. For the ones who don't know what they are, you're probably at the right address. I'm supposed to explain this. Anyway, they're monsters. Win every monster with 0 attack points. Well, that's not too impressive, but they gain attack points equal to their level time, 300, and they increase their level every time an FA spell card is used. This creates quite a unique play mechanic, but also a very Archetype exclusive mechanic. They don't run very well with other spells and traps, that's why I only have 3 non-FA spell and trap cards. FA is completely filled with spell cards and has no archetypal traps. But they're all quick play spell cards, so that more than makes up for it, except for the 3 field spells it runs, which are pretty darn essential, I would say. They form both the best searcher in the deck and the attack booster in the deck, with off-road being the worst one. And personal favorite is a Circuit Grand Prix for me, because it can actually activate the effect multiple times, which causes multiple level increases. Strongest monster will be this one, the FA Motorhome Transport, which already starts out at level 9, but it's a synchro monster, so you'd need to run Auto Navigator for it. Again, it's a really good card because it can search your field spells. So yeah, I am gonna, by the way, for those who are wondering, there are TCG marks here, they are broken. They are actually belonging to Turbocharger, Whip Crosser, Auto Navigator, Test Run, Pit Stop, and Off-Road. These are all, that means that they're only in the English version of Yu-Gi-Oh! They're not in the Japanese, which is also pretty cool. This is a TCG exclusive archetype that's actually very fun to play. Also, these three are also, the Synchro is also TCG exclusive. Anyway, I'm just gonna go into a duel, show it off real quick, and then talk about how I see the archetype running overall and what the main idea behind it is. Okay guys, this is gonna be the duel. I have tried before, but the guy quit on me, so I'm a little bit angry. Okay, so a suggestion, which I keep forgetting to do myself, is add a Asian Fairy Dragon to the extra deck. The high reliance on field spells and the fact that you want to destroy some of them makes it worthwhile. Okay, summons 2 double tokens, but unless you're planning to do something with them, they're really terrible. Okay, I'll start things off with Hang On Mac. Then I activate a field spell to raise its level by 1. Or 3 apparently. Then, because I control one with a level different than its original, I can lower its level again to summon this thing. And with this thing's effect, I get to add any field spell. So I'll add the Circuit Grand Prix, which again is in my opinion the best. Oh, and now I can already synchro summon for the level 9, which is really good. If you can pull it off on full power, you get ridiculous. It becomes indestructible. So now it can be destroyed again, except during the battle phase. But this level increases to a level 10. I could so. Oh no, I can't. I can only use TKS. What? I'll destroy his Hyper Librarian before he draws too many cards. Card drawing can be very good. Oh, that's what he meant. Ah, meant tanks. I just didn't know that that meant that. Don't tell anyone. So anyway, getting this monster out on level 11 is very good because of its high stats, it's hard to destroy by battle in the first place, but it's also immune to it. Oh, and he's gonna bring back the either the Tech Gene's Hyper Librarian or the Junk Synchron he already sent to the graveyard. I doubt he's gonna bring back Doppel Warrior because Doppel Warrior is obviously not that great. Don't play Doppel Warrior, please. Oh, and he's bringing back the Tech Gene's Hyper Librarian. You know, at some point, the two of us are just gonna be stuck. So, sorry, man. It's level. Okay, he has Quick Draw, Tech Gene's Hyper Librarian, and 2 Doppel tokens. He's going for level 7. Ooh. Oh. Oh, that's actually the biggest jerk move he can make, because he can also remove all additional levels that have been gained. True. Like, okay, this is the kind of stuff that you're really not prepared for with this deck. You like, oh wow, that's just I drew exactly 1 card, so I get to activate my card effects. I will summon Auto Navigator, which allows me to add a field spell. I'm going to add the City Grand Prix. City Grand Prix is really good because it makes all targeting harsh. And hang on Mac in defense mode. And hey, I can go for another one. No, you really only want to run one of them and try to get the one of your hang on Macs to level 7 or above, in which case it can use its ability, which again is really good. Like most of the abilities actually in the deck are very, very good. Jester Confit and okay. He's Synchrosoning for level 2? He brings back 2 Doppelwars, but he can't special summon the tokens either because they're not Synchro monsters. Celestial Double Star Shaman. He can make level 7, 4, 6, or levels 11. He could be going for Star Eater here, but it's pure baseless speculation at this point. Really not worth any mention. Oh, he's going for them draw powers, though. So yeah, by the way, when this card is level 13 or higher, it also brings back a monster every turn. So besides being indestructible, it is also a revival machine. This card really feels like the ace card of the deck, because it is ridiculous. I find its effects ridiculous. Of course, on real tournaments, you're not going to get far with this, because you do need time to set it up. Well, that card didn't have his level boosted yet, so I'm fine with that. I hope for a yes, it's another FA. First I activate its effect to bring back Hang On Mac. This again leads into then a normal summon this pathetic creature. And why do I do that? So I can do this. I can add Circuit Grand Prix to my hand. Circuit Grand Prix is activated, so my monster's levels go up by 2. Well, at least by 1 each. And during the battle phase, his level will be 7, which means I can use its ability. And because I use his effect again of Circuit Grand Prix, which is reusable, which is what makes it my preference over thingamajig, City Grand Prix. Like, I don't think he has anything that will target my monsters, and he has to get rid of 2, so... but the only downside is his cards that he uses during the main phase aren't banished. Okay, he can Synchro Summon for level 3. That's Tatsunoko, probably. No. Mistbird Klausulus. I did not know he was that good. Oh shit, and with the 2 tokens he gets, he really... Why play it in attack mode, though? That's a card that's really meant for defense mode. Oh, he negates Hang On Mac. And he's chaining something. He's cooking something there, and I can smell it. Oh, you're right, he can bring that card back. That's right. I always forget that that card can do that. Oh, my monster effect should now be negated. Oh, an effect! I completely forgot. It's immune to card effect. If the monster who's affecting monster in question is a lower level than him. So he needed a level 7 monster, just a level 6 actually, or above, just to affect my monster. I forget just how good these cards can be. Like, his better pick would have been Motorhome. For multiple reasons, actually, because he would have negated its anti-destruction and attack point effect, which would have been a level 13 0 attack point monster. He gave up. He realized that he can't win, even if he summons Red Dragon Archfiend. Or something like that. Anyway, guys, that is how the deck runs overall. I'm just going to go back to the deck edit screen and talk a little bit about how each card can be useful, how it can be worthless. Okay, and I'm back just to talk about what all these cards, how they're good. Okay, so first of all, let's start with the non-FA cards. Flying Kamakiri can summon basically anyone from the deck except Magician of Faith. Everything else is technically, while in your deck, a 0 attack point monster, which qualifies for Flying Kamakiri's effect. I would most recommend to summon Turbocharger this way, because tributing for him is usually not worth it. I would actually be ahead for in a recipe where you only run one of these, but I would run one because he can be pretty good. Well, next up is Magician of Faith. Due to the deck's high reliance on spell cards, I felt it wasn't necessary, especially to retrieve any of the field spells, seeing how the other spells have a graveyard effect. Especially Test Run and Spit Stop have really good graveyard effects, which you really don't want to miss out on. Okay, and then we come to the actual FA card. No, actually, no, wait, I have some more. Twin Twisters is just a card mainly added to blow up my own field spells to activate their graveyard effects, which let me search when they're destroyed. Really useful stuff, and of course being able to blow up 2 cards of your opponent would also be nice. My body as a shield. Now what I noticed when making this deck is that it originally had a huge lack of protection against card effects. I felt like a card like this could just be extremely useful. I was originally running Destruction Jammer, but this card feels so much better because it's only paying life points and not discarding your card out of your hand. Like, you could discard a Pit Stop because the first one is usually not worth it, but still. It is a hand refresher to lower, and well, after that becomes a +1, and after that even a +2 card, so yeah, the third one is actually really good, actually, that's not gonna lie. Okay, so anyway, like, I'm gonna go more in depth in it later. Last but not least is Drowning Mirror Force, which is just a comeback card. Because again, this deck also lacks that. I feel, at least, because it is relatively slow, and then to have to make a comeback when your opponent's field is filled is pretty much impossible. So now let's get on to the actual FA cards. Turbocharger's effect allows its, well, first of all FA monsters' effect is that their level increases by 1 every time an FA spell card is used, and that their attack is 300 times their level. This is the only level 6, this is the only one that's not a level 4 or level 1. Level 1 and level 1, 4, and 6. Those are the only levels that appear in the archetype. I've looked it up for just to be sure. These are the 5 monsters. 3 of them are level 4, 1 of them is level 1, and 1 of them is level 6. So tributes are pretty much a non-existent, kind of non-existent. Like, this one can be tribute summoned, but again, I'd summon it with Flying Kamakiri, or just discard it with Twin Twisters, if you get the chance, you know. If you really feel like you need this effect that prevents any other monster from being attacked, okay, but that's honestly would maybe even suggest doing like this. Throw one out and add one of these. Because these Flying Kamakiris are a lot better than the Turbocharger. Anyhow, Turbocharger's other effect is when it's level 7 or higher, it's... Okay, wait, hold on. I think I'll only cover the general effect here. Anyway. Well, if any monster your opponent controls that is a lower level than this card cannot target other monsters for attacks. That means actually if you have 2 that are level 13 or above, that your opponent cannot attack, which creates a minor Marauding Captain combo in the deck, but hugely impractical. Do not try. Well, you know what, if you want to try, you can do it, but if you're playing serious, don't try. If it happens, it happens, but I do not see it happening, and like I said, I would run only one of these suckers. Like, summon it with Flying Kamakiri, discard it to the graveyard with something, but tribute summoning, you kind of already like, I shouldn't. Anyhow, the next one is actually one of the most important ones, Hang On Mac. Hang On Mac, again, it's 300 attack times its level, and every time a spell card's activated, the level goes up by 1. Only FA spell cards, by the way, just to make that clear. This card is unaffected by any monster whose level or rank is lower, which also covers XCs, but it does not cover Link. Remember that. Link are actually newer and actually are protected against these FA effects that affect level mostly. When this card is level 7 or higher, every card sent to the opponent's graveyard is banished. That is actually very powerful. This stops any kind of floating for your opponent. But don't think of it as too much, because you do want to work to another cards basically, because, well, the deck is mostly going to be about attacking and doing damage. Okay, so the next up is the Whip Crosser. And again, the standard effect of 300 per level and a level up for every FA spell. And this is the funny thing is, it says each time FA spell slash trap card is effect is activated. So, but there are no traps. Like this is FA. It stops at Circuit Grand Prix. There are no known traps for this archetype, so that does reveal that they might be planning that, because it is on every card it writes trap. But if it's actually, this deck is all about the spells, though. And I don't see them adding any trap cards, because, you know, these are about racing, so of course quick play would make the most sense. The only exception being the field spells, which are really, really good. Do run them. Anyway, Whip Crosser. Your opponent must pay 300 life points to activate effective monster with level is lower than this card's level. This also means forced effects, like during the standby phase, pay 500 life points. If your opponent has that kind of effect, they have to pay on top of it another 300 because the effect still activates. Doing basically anything or anything else that is force activated. And if they only have 200 life points and they force activate effect, they actually have to pay their life points up. This card forces the payment, and it does not give another option. It does not say pay 300 life points or destroy it, or pay 300 life points or negate it. Yeah, they must pay 300 life points. There is no question ever. Again, okay, and its second effect, which is again if it's level 7 or higher, your opponent cannot discard or send cards from their hand to the graveyard to activate a card effect. This means that they can't pay the cost of most cards, at least a lot of cards. On tournaments, mostly the life point based cards, but there are still some discard cards being used. For instance, Effect Failure, which would actually be a killer for this, like this would kill this deck pretty much, because it can negate a monster effect, is pointless against this card because you're not allowed to discard it for its effect. Which actually creates a nice counter to the competitive play of hand traps, which are required to be sent from the hand to the graveyard. So that makes Whip Crosser actually very good. If you can pull off getting him to level 70 in time, like, great on you. You just prevented your opponent from using any hand traps. Okay, next up is probably my least favorite. It's Sonic Meister. I still run 3 of them because I wanted this to be a good FA deck, but besides its standard effect, it cannot be destroyed by battle when a monster whose level is lower. Well, okay, it's got battle protection. It's not too great. If it's level 7 or higher, it can make 2 attacks on monsters. Now, if it just said 2 attacks, I would have actually loved this card. But it says monsters. So that means if my opponent manages to have 2 monsters on the field, and I have this card on the field, and it's level 7 or above, I can attack twice. And I don't like it. So yeah, that's Sonic Meister, and then we come to the last monster, which is Auto Navigator. Auto Navigator is going to be an important card. If it's in your hand or graveyard, and you control an FA monster whose level is different from its original, or actually it's higher than its original, that's pretty much what they all do, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. If you do that, target level goes back to the original, and this one gains the amount of levels it had gained. So if they use this on any level 9 monster, you can instantly go into your motorhome transport. Really good. Really good. If this card's normal or special summon, you can add an FA field spell to your from your hand to your deck, which are the most powerful cards in this deck, are the field spells. They are gonna be what you're running on. This deck is field heavy, but there is barely any space left to put in terraforming. This creates the terraforming space. You know, this is basically your terraforming, and it doesn't take up any unnecessary space, which terraforming would. So yeah, run this instead of 10 of terraforming, even because you you have. Well, I would say run these 2 3 times, or run this one 2 times or 3 times, so you'll have 8 or 9 field spells if you play this right. So your plus these 3 searchers would create more than 10 cards, which give you access to your field spells, like at least 11. Like at least in this version, it's 11, which is pretty darn good for searching out just field spells. Okay, next up we have a test run. FA test run's normal effect is that you can change the battle position of one FA monster and destroy one card on the field. That means it's a non-targeting, because it doesn't say target one card on the field. I've actually once done this on Obelisk the Tormentor, and it was beautiful. The guy was confused because he thought it was immune like that. Anyway, then it's an okay effect. It destroys one card, which can be really good. But if your opponent has major floating effects in, oh boy, that's gonna be great. It's graveyard or it's floating effect. Like I use this term the whole time, and then I sometimes just say graveyard effect anyway. Its floating effect is that you can banish it during the main phase, except the turn it was in there, to destroy one face of card you control and special summon one FA monster. Now this pairs up really nicely with field spells, which activate when they're destroyed. And the fact that you can special summon means that you can special summon. If you destroy a field spell, all of them search out an FA card. So you can destroy a field spell, summon Auto Navigator, get a new field spell, and then use the field spells effect to add any FA monster or spell you need at that moment. So really good card. And then we come on to the next one, which is FA Pit Stop. Probably the it's good if you can play 2 or more of them. At least that's their main effect. Their graveyard effect is actually good on all 3. It targets one FA monster you control, reduces the level by 2, and if you do, draw cards equal to the number of FA pit stops in your graveyard plus 1. So that means if you have 2 in your graveyard, which is the maximum you can have when playing this card, you get to draw 3 cards, which you only, in card theory, for the people who are really into the professional, you know what it means, like yeah, the number of cards in your field and hand, you get a +2 if you play the third one. And that is, just to say, a little bit ridiculous. It's very cheap, too, because it says reduced by 2, but because you use an FA spell card, every FA monster gets 1+ level, so if you have 3 on the field, you still gain 2 total levels. So yeah, just use this on. You can play it face down and you just use it right before your monster gets destroyed by a card effect, just to draw a card off it still. And then its graveyard effect. You see, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one FA monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use each effect of FA pit stop once per turn, so that means you can't play 3 in one turn to draw 3 cards and then just summon 3 monsters from the graveyard. That would be a little bit ridiculous. So yeah. That's FA Pit Stop for you. Really good cards, run a lot of them. The next one is probably the weakest FA spell card, but by no means bad. It targets one FA monster you control, increases level by 2 until the end of this turn. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Target one FA monster you control level, increases level by 2 until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of FA Downforce once per turn, so you can't spam 3 of them to gain 8 levels plus 3 from the effect, so no. But yeah, you can make a monster suddenly become 900 points stronger, 300 of which are permanent, 600 of which are not permanent. That's decent, and it does help you rack up those levels real quick. It's a mindless action, but it is a good mindless action. But now we're getting to the real good stuff, the field spells. FA City Grand Prix, which is the newest. These 2 were older, like the 3 new cards were introduced in in the Extreme Force pack, which were City Grand Prix, Test Run, and Auto Navigator. The other ones are from Coda the Duelist, I do believe. Anyway, City Grand Prix, which is one of the 3 new ones that really helps pump up this archetype's power, is increase the level of all FA monsters in the field by 2 during the main phase and battle phase. So that means that they get permanent +2 basically, except when the opponent is ending or has a standby phase. This does affect play a little, because if you have a level 5 Maka on the field, like you have a Mach on the field, you activate this, Mach's level goes to 5, but then it goes to 7 thanks to this card's effect. But if your opponent loses any cards during their standby phase, they do not get banished. So yeah, that's a slight downside to it, but further battle phase and main phase is when it's most important, so Yeah. Your opponent cannot target FA monster control with card effects. They're really good. It's at least decent. It protects all FA monsters against targeting effects, which is like honestly, I love it. If this case, and this is the shared effect for all field spells, if this face-up card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you can add one FA card from your deck to your hand, except insert field spell's name. You can only use this effect of FA City Grand Prix once per turn. Okay, so it only works once per turn. You can search with it, so you can't play one of them, add another. You can't search itself, so yeah, you can't just destroy it, add another, and destroy it again. You can also not search for another field spell, destroy that, and then add this again. Okay, now we come to my least favorite field spell, which it's decent. It gets that main phase boost, but it severely lacks the attacking boost, which I find, again, very important for this deck. Increase the levels of all FA monsters in your field by 2 during the main phase only. You can only use each of the following effects of FA Off-Road Grand Prix once per turn. When an FA monster you control is destroyed by battle, discard one random card from your opponent's hand. That is, honestly, if they don't have a lot of floating, it can be very annoying to have your hand emptied out like that. And if you have 2 FAs on the field, they really have to be careful not to blow up the wrong one, because you activate the effect again. The second effect is, again, if it's destroyed, you search an FA card except itself. The third effect, with third card, which I'm surprised they didn't formulate it the same as Overroad. Like Overroad has it written like this, like so, separate sentences, just with points in front of it, which is an easier way to read it. But this creates a little bit, like it just I have a lot of love that you just said you can only use the following effect once per turn. When your FA monster destroys an opponent monster by battle, draw one card like that. But it says it like this: increase the levels of all FA monsters in the field by 2 during the battle phase only. So yeah, this one really is boosting up the battle power. And you can, once per turn, when an FA monster destroys an opponent monster by battle, you can draw one card. So besides this being draw power, there's also attack power for your deck again. Because your deck, again, runs on these activations, and this effect can be activated again and again and again each turn. Meaning that every turn, besides drawing one extra card, you get to increase the attack power of your monsters, which really something you want to do. Again, if this card is destroyed, you can add another FA card from your deck to your hand. This can be another field spell, but it can also just be a monster. Like if you already have 2 City Grand Prix in your hand and this one gets destroyed, really just add a monster. And last but not least is FA Motorhome Transport. This card does not have any effect if its level does not have a level requirement. Like all FAs have like an effect if they are level 7 or higher, except for Auto Navigator, whose level doesn't increase. But all of them have like an effect for level 7 or higher and a base effect, which they always have. This one only has for level 11 or higher, or 13 or higher, which also answers the question, can it go beyond 12? Yes, it can. I have boosted this thing to 20 once. Twice even. Anyway, when it's level 11 or higher, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect, which, fantastic. Fantastic. That is, like, actually really good. If it's level 13 or higher, you can target an FA monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So yeah, that is it for the FA card that I use. There are some, well, for all the cards that I use, there are some cards like Delta Flyer which are recommended with it, but I don't like it. If the deck is already kind of slow, which is weird for the Formula Racing deck, but this card slows it down much worse. Let's see, a card that I would personally recommend. This is just for temporary boost. Galaxy Queen's Light. You can target one level 7 or higher monster. You can draw the levels of all other face-up monsters become the same till the end of the turn. Which means if I had to boost this thing to level 20, played that, it would have boosted up to all of them to level 20, which would have meant multiple 6,000 attack point monsters. Also, this card was recommended, but only if you played as you're stupid, big win. Declare a level between 1 and 12. Each player tosses a coin. If both are heads, you have to have 2 heads, which is a 1 in 25 odds. All the face-up monsters you control become the declared level. This is a permanent. So if you declare 12, you can make them all level 12 instantly. Sounds good, right? But now here's the thing, here's the catch. If both are tills, you lose life points equal to the declared level times 500. Now I hear sometimes tournament players say like, life points are not important. I agree. Life points aren't always that important. However, this is something else entirely. You're risking. First of all, you're taking chance, which is also something tournament players say do not do that. They don't use coin toss effects unless they have like 2 positive results. They do not. They have 2 negative results, 1 positive result, and 1 super negative result. Because if you're gonna declare 12 with this, you're playing FA. You want your levels to be high, so you declare 12. That is a risk for 6,000 damage. Now when they say well, honestly, if you've taken any damage during the duel, you're probably already below 6,000. Now you already have to either declare lower, or you have to really risk losing the duel. I find this card just too costly in the amount of life points, too low odds of winning. The odds are 25% chance, 25% chance you take 6,000 damage, and a 50% chance that you'll waste the space in your deck on a card that will rarely work. So yeah, this is just the absolute abomination of FA support. Of use this with FAs. No, do not use this with anything, please. Please. Anyway, guys, that does it for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype review for FAs. There are probably more cards like Level Changer, I believe, or Star Changer. Star Changer, which can increase the level of 1 card, but again, you might as well run Downforce, which, for instance, boosts by 2 temporarily plus 1 from its own effect. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to comment what archetype do you want to review next. I will do my research. See you all next time. Bye bye.